Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning I have two guests. I have Lori Keith, the Vice President of Residential Marketing with Mannington Mills, and Todd Saunders, the CEO with Broadlume. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Doing well.
Good. I want to talk about this news that came out last week that the two of you have formed a partnership in this whole digital space that Broadlume is focused on. We'll get to that in just a minute. I know both of you are going to be at Amelia Island, Florida next week at FloorCon, the third annual meeting of that. Most people know Mannington is a top 5 supplier in the business, and Broadlume is probably the market share leader when it comes to the number of websites that you manage for retailers. You've been in that space for a while. Why don't you tell us about the partnership?
Thank you, Kemp. We are excited to partner with Broadlume to give our One Mannington, One Phoenix, and Compass dealers, all the retailers who are in our loyalty programs, as well as any retailers currently working with Broadlume, the opportunity to have a modern shopping experience with their local consumers. That means enabling the retailers who work with Broadlume and sell our floors to have an excellent visualization tools and to be able to order consumer samples on their own website. This also allows us to generate more leads to help support the dealers' businesses as well. If they have one of the Broadlume kiosks in their stores, they'll have the ability to have the beautiful visualization experience with a large screen kiosk. Right now, about 2,300 of our retailers already have a partnership with Broadlume, and we're looking forward to adding more retailers onto the platform.
Our goal at Broadlume is to provide an amazing consumer experience. To provide an amazing consumer experience, you need a really great partnership between retailer and supplier. So we feel that's our responsibility at Broadlume. We provide the tools, and we provide the tools not just to the retailer, but also to the supplier, in this case, Mannington, which we're super excited by. But at the end of the day, our job together is to delight consumers, make it easy for them to shop, easy for them to make the purchase decision, and in this case, easy for them to choose, one of Mannington's products. But we've seen some really great results when testing this. When you add in visualization and sample ordering, it is much more likely that consumer purchases much more quickly. And if you talk to retailers right now, it's all about leads, it's all about margin, and this relationship should help push that forward.
How did this come about?
So Mannington recently conducted research with consumers who are in the flooring buying process to help discover how they are shopping. So one of the results that surprised me was that consumers are more likely to visit their local flooring store's website than a manufacturer's website. And that's what set me on this path on finding a solution that ensure that the Mannington brand and the Phoenix brand are in front of consumers at the right place at the right time, which is on the retailer websites. So we had already been giving Broadlume access to our assets and data for years. We had a casual relationship, but whenever I look for solutions, I first outline what our goals are. And I won't go through all of our goals, but the first two were first, enabling a modern shopping experience that consumers expect. And that's things like filtering and visualization tools and consumer samples and showing multiple images for the floors. Second is giving us excellent exposure for Mannington and Phoenix brands so that consumers, whenever they're shopping for new floors, it allows for them to have a great experience, but then also allows us to have control over our brands in partnership with the retailers. And really, Kemp, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's strengthening our partnerships with retailers, which that's what our partnership with Broadlume allows us to do. It allows us to be better partners with the independent flooring retailer. Kemp, as you know, Mannington has always been focused on the independent retailer, and that's who Broadlume is focused on too. So it's easy for us to partner when you have a shared goal of helping that retailer to be more profitable.
Yeah, Lori's totally right there. We have one customer, and our customer is that local flooring retailer, and we'll do whatever it takes to help make sure they are the most successful.
I was noticing in the press release that some of your research, Todd, shows that Mannington is one of the most searched brands. So that's going to be good for traffic on your end as well, right?
Yeah, and I would say there's a huge opportunity happening right now in the flooring industry. Mannington is one of the most searched brands, but to be frank, 4% of searches online for flooring even mention a brand. So where the real opportunity is the 96% right, of people that just type in, wood look flooring or, waterproof flooring. That's where the opportunity is. And we're in an industry where I believe we're going through this evolution, right? Like every industry goes through, and there's an opportunity for brands to really stabilize themselves and kind of rise to the top, especially with this 96% opportunity. So I'm excited to, dive deeper into this with Lori and team and figure out not just how we strengthen, her percent of that 4%, but also how we look at, the whole ocean as our available opportunity to help them grow and, grow their brand strategically, how they think it best fits.
Lori, let me ask you, can Mannington also partner with other digital providers?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll still support our other digital partners the same way we are today. So that doesn't change. Our partnership with Broadlume doesn't affect how we're supporting our retailers who use other digital partners or even buying groups. So at the end of the day, we're still supporting retailers who support Mannington. It's just that we are now enabling our retailers and our loyalty programs, and those retailers already work with Broadlume, a more modern shopping experience.
So what's the next steps?
So next steps for us with Broadlume is we're working through our integration now with our data and our assets, and we plan to officially launch our digital retail program at Surfaces along with Broadlume. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of retailers who have participated in using some of these tools. And what's really amazing to me is, having visualization in store and online and having sample ordering on your website, it really can be used two ways. When we initially launched it, we said, hey, it's going to be an amazing experience for your consumers to interact with, the Mannington brand and the local stores brand. But what we found over time is it's actually an amazing sales tool as well. So if you're a retailer and you're listening, how you want to use these tools is when Mrs. Jones calls you and she says, I'm going to come into your store next week. The retailer should know right away, hey, Mrs. Jones, go to my website. Feel free to visualize some of the, the gray planks you were talking about. And here, I'm actually going to send you a sample to your house of some things. That way, before you come in, you have an idea of what you're looking at. And then maybe Mrs. Jones comes in and she ends up looking at some beige carpet instead. And while she's on the way out, the retailer has the opportunity to use the tools to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to send you a few other, beige carpets that you might like, maybe in the Phoenix collection. So you should see that hit your inbox in your house in a few days. So I really want to stress that this isn't just a amazing consumer experience. It's also a selling tool for the retailers when it comes to the relationship with them and the consumer.
All right, guys. Well, congratulations on this partnership together. We'll be monitoring it closely, and maybe we can catch up again on it down the road. Again, been talking to Lori Keith, the Vice President of Residential Marketing with Mannington, and Todd Saunders, the CEO with Broadlume, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.